Homework then that you had last night is 3 bracket x squared minus 2 plus 4 bracket x squared plus 6. So the first thing you have to do is you have to draw your arrows. So from 3 to x squared, 3 to minus 2, and from 4 to x squared, and 4 to 6. Okay, we know that brackets mean to multiply, so 3 times x squared. So in front of this there'd be an imaginary 1, so it's number by number, variable by variable, but there's no other variable to multiply this with. Okay, so it just gives me 3x squared, and then I have to multiply my 3 by minus 2. Okay, so 3 times minus 2 gives me minus 6, and now I have to multiply here, so my number by my number, okay, my variable by my variable. So what I have here is 4 times 1 just gives me 4, and I keep my variable, which is x squared, and then I have to multiply 4 times 6, and that gives me plus 24. My next line then is I have to underline everything that goes together. So 3x squared and 4x squared, they go together because they're the exact same. And minus 6, I circle that, and that will go with 24. I rewrite then, so I have 3x squared plus 4x squared minus 6 plus 24, and I get 7x squared plus 18. Okay, because minus 6 plus 24 is plus 18. Your calculator will do that for you. Then question 16 was 2x bracket x plus 2 plus 3x bracket x minus 4. So I draw out my arrows from 2x to x, 2x to 2. Then I do my arrows from 3x to x and 3x to minus 1. Okay, so brackets then mean to multiply. So I need to multiply 2x times x. Okay, so in front of my x I would have an imaginary 1. Okay, so it's number by number, letter by letter. So 2 times 1 gives me 2. X times x. Okay, so what I've noticed from your homework from the previous night is that people have just wrote down x there again, because there's 2 x's, or we wrote down x. Okay, so it's not x, it's going to be x squared, because I add my powers. So there's an imaginary 1 there, and imaginary 1 there. So 1 plus 1 gives me 2. Then I have 2x times 2. So I number by number, so 2 times 2 gives me 4, and I keep my variable, which is x. Then I come on to my second bracket, so it's 3x times x. Okay, so once again, okay, so it's number by number, so there's imaginary 1 there. So 3 times 1 will give me 3. And then I have to multiply x times x. Okay, so my imaginary 1, my imaginary 1. I keep my base, which is x, and I add my powers, so that's 2. Then I have 3x times my minus 1. Okay, so number by number. So 3 times minus 1 gives me minus 3. And then I just keep my variable because there's nothing there to multiply it with. I underline things that are the same. So 2x squared goes with 3x squared. And I circle 4x and minus 3x. I cannot add an x squared to an x because they're not the exact same. They need to be the exact same power, everything, before they can go together. Then what I have is I have 2x squared plus 3x squared plus 4x minus 3. 2x squared plus 3x squared gives me 5x squared. Plus 4x minus 3x gives me plus 1x, or just plus x. Then I have for question 18, I have a bracket 3a minus 4 plus 3a bracket 2a minus 3. So I draw my arrows. Okay, so I do a to 3a, a to minus 4, and I do 3a to 2a, 3a to minus 3. So I need to multiply my a times my 3a, my a times my minus 4. Right, so a times 3a. So we need to go number by number, variable by variable. Okay, so there's an imaginary 1 there. So 1 by 3 gives me 3. A multiplied by a, I get my imaginary 1, my power imaginary power 1 up there. So I keep my base. So my base is a, and I add my powers to be squared. Then I go 1a times minus 4 gives me minus 4a. 3a times 2a, so I go number by number. So 3 times 2 gives me 6. And I have my letter by letter. Okay, so there's imaginary power 1 here and imaginary power 1 here as well. And I keep my base, which is a, and I add the powers. 1 plus 1 gives me 2. Then I have to finish it off, go 3a times minus 3. So number by number, so 3 times minus 3 gives me minus 9. And then there's no variable to multiply it with, so I just bring down my variable. So now I have 3a squared So I underline everything that goes together. So 3a squared plus 6a squared, they go together, minus 4a and minus 9a, I circle them because they're the same as well. So I have 3a squared plus 6a squared minus 4a minus 9a. So 3a squared plus 6a squared gives me 9a squared, minus 4a minus 9a. So minus 4 take away 9 gives me minus 13a. And then you had some more. So question 20 then is 5a bracket a minus 3 minus 2a bracket a plus 4. So I go 4a times arrow there, 4a to the arrow minus 3, minus 2a to the arrow a, minus 2a to the arrow 4. Now, I need to multiply 5a times a, so number by number, so I have imaginary 1 here. So 5 by 1 gives me 5, a by a gives me a squared. Okay, so girls, you can kind of recognise here that the highest power we tend to have is always just going to be something to be squared. Then I have 5a times minus 3, so number by number, so 5 times minus 3 gives me minus 15, and I just keep my variable because there's nothing over here to multiply it with, so it's just a. Now I have minus 2a times a, so it's number by number, so there's imaginary 1 here, so minus 2 times 1 gives me minus 2, and then I go a times a gives me, so there's imaginary 1 there, imaginary 1 there. I keep my base, which is a, and I add my power, so 1 plus 1 gives me 2. Then I have to multiply minus 2a times 4, so I go number by number, so it's minus 2 times 4 gives me minus 8, and then because I've nothing, no variable over here to multiply with, I just keep my a. I underline the terms that go together, so minus 4a and minus 2a squared, they go together. And then I circle minus 15a and minus 8a, they go together. So I have 5a squared minus 2a squared minus 15a minus 8a. So I have 5a squared, take away 2a squared gives me 3a squared, minus 15 minus 8 gives me minus 23a. Question 22 then, it's 2a bracket 3a minus 4 minus 3a bracket a minus 7. So I draw my arrows with first term to first term to last term, my first term here to my first term here, my first term here to my second term here. Okay, so then what I have, I go number by number. So 2 by 3 gives me 6, a by a gives me a squared. Then I do 2a times minus 4, so number by number, so 2 times minus 4 gives me minus 8, and because I've no letter over here to multiply it with, I just keep my letter, which is a. Now I have minus 3 times a, so there would be an imaginary 1 in front here, so it's number by number, so minus 3 times 1 gives me minus 3, a times a gives me a squared. Then I have a minus by minus, gives me a plus, okay, number by number, so minus 3 times minus 7 gives me plus 21, and because I've no letter over here to multiply it with, I just bring down my a. So then my next step is I need to underline terms that go together, so my 6a squared and my minus 3a squared goes together, and I circle my minus 8a and my plus 21a because they go together, because they're the exact same. Then I have here, when I tidy it all up, so 6a squared, take away my 3a squared, I'm left with 3a squared, and I put into my calculator minus 8 plus 21, I get plus 13a. And then the last one that you had for your homework was 4 bracket a squared plus 2a minus 1 minus 2 bracket 2a squared minus 3a plus 4. So I have to draw my arrow to each term, okay, like we always do, to each term. Okay, so the first thing I need to multiply out is I need to multiply 4 times a squared. So it's number by number, so in front here I would have imaginary 1. So 4 times 1 just gives me 4, and because I have no letter here to multiply, I just keep my variable, which is a squared. Then I need to multiply my 4 times my 2a. So number by number, so 4 times 2 gives me 8, and I have no variable to multiply with, so I just bring down my a. And last thing I have to do is I have to multiply my 4 times my minus 1. So number by number, 4 times minus 1 gives me minus 4. In this bracket now I have to multiply out as well. So I have minus 2 times 2a squared. So minus So number by number. So minus 2 times 2 gives me minus 4. And then because I've no letter over here to multiply it with, I just bring down my a squared. Now I have minus 2 times minus 3a. So number by number, so minus 2 times minus 3 gives me plus 6. And I've no variable to multiply it over here with, so I just bring down my a. So 2 minus 2 then times plus 4 gives me minus 8. I underline terms to go together, so I have my a, 4a squared, and minus 4a squared, they go together. I circle my plus 8a and my plus 6a, they go together. And then I just put a little dot underneath my numbers, my constant, so minus 4, minus 8. So then I rewrite it here. So I have 4a squared minus 4a squared, that gives me 0a squared. And I have 8a plus 6a, and that gives me 14a. And the last one then is minus 4 minus 8, and that gives me minus 12. We never usually write down if there's a 0a squared, we just get rid of it. So my full answer at the very, very end is 14a minus 12.